At first it was not present, but subtraction.
Thickened by intent, the domain did not speak incorrectly. Something within it had been persuaded to lie. Pulses should let themselves long before stone was
They had not. Two minds were moving under borrowed veil, bending the human rhythm until it blurred at the edge of sense. That explained the delay.
not all of it.
For centuries I kept the grounds in exact recurrence. North wall, eastern path, collapse, cloister, lower halls. Nothing enters without becoming known. Then the pattern altered.
Je n'avais pas quitté mes veilles, j'en avais déplacé l'usage.
Hours once returned to the domain had begun to conclude elsewhere.
In lit rooms, in measured conversations, in a presence that had made repetition less empty. Non lapisserave, ego vigilias minui. So when the first clear pulse arrived, life did not sound like trespass alone.
It sounded like correction. Something had crossed my threshold through a breach I had not named, and every step they took thereafter passed through the proof of it.
Ce qui avait changé en moi avait laissé une porte moins surveillée. She understood the matter quickly, of course she did.
An intruder was only a body. A body could be ended. Her skill made that arithmetic simple. That was precisely the difficulty.
I know too well what she permits when method requires it. How little of herself she withholds from danger,
From pain, from the last necessary gesture.
So I did not refuse her because I doubted her.
Je refusais la distance.
No measure still uncounted would find her outside my reach.
We moved through the divided halls while the castle relearned its enemy. One in the garden, two beneath the western arch, another in the long gallery. Studying frames he could not have named, they died with the ordinary speed of those who mistake age for ruin. Blood clarified the floor. Stone resumed its discipline.
For a moment, the old precision returned. Then one signal broke from the pattern too far, too sudden, too near.
There are distances, measured not in corridors, but in the fraction by which one arrives late. I reached the chamber as the act concluded.
Not by my design, not by my hunger, not by the law we had made habitable between us. Steel withdrew, her body gave way, and for one impossible instant the world resented her absence as if it had the right.
I had seen her die before, never like that. Never taken from the order in which I could still endure it. The intruder turned toward me.
He did not finish turning, I removed him. Before the gesture completed, before the chamber could pretend that sequence still meant anything. The others followed quickly, garden, stair, hall, one mage beneath a broken saint. The second trying to flee the lower vault they had entered to take objects. They left having clarified alone. The castle closed around their deaths. With the old efficient calm. But calm had become inaccurate, because the scene remains. Angle of the fall. The silence after impact, the pause in which no return had yet corrected what I had seen. I have never trusted memory, it decays where it repeats. Je n'oublierai pourtant ni la chute, ni le vide exact qu'elle a laissé. Absentia ilius locum ipsum corrupit. Then breath resumed, tissue answered, the interruption broke as it had broken before. Function returned. That should have been sufficient, it was not. I had already seen the shape of the world, with her removed from it by another will. Immortality did not diminish that knowledge, it refined its cruelty. One may know that a thing returns and still discover that its absence is intolerable. Ce n'était pas la mort qui m'avait atteint, c'était qu'on me l'avait imposé. Until that night I had permitted myself several inaccuracies. Interest, habit, preference, a singular hunger better left without confession. All insufficient. When I saw her taken from before me, the lesser names expired. Non conditio, non consuetudum ex sola fames, irreparabile factum est, non quia mortua erat, sed quia mitti poterat. Then all that had altered before returned with unbearable order. The shortened patrols, the open doors, the rooms prepared before her steps, the intervals I extended, the methods I delayed, the needless reasons I found to keep her near me. None had been errors of appetite. I had already reorganized my duration around her and called it discipline because I preferred that word. Je l'avais laissée entrer plus loin que ma faim, plus loin que mon intérêt, plus loin que mes ruines. I once believed time had taken nothing from me, that I considered indeed
impossible. That sentence did not survive the chamber. Now I know this, some beings do not become precious by vow, but by exact recurrence, by the weight they leave in thought, by the disorder revealed the instant they can be torn away. She had crossed that threshold before I allowed myself to see it. Res manifesta. Ceres was no longer a useful anomaly nor a chosen companion in method. She had become the one absence I could not admit into the world.
The dead intruders taught me nothing. They merely triggered the proof. What changed in me had already happened. That night only gave it violence, and therefore clarity.
Je ne pouvais plus lui offrir la fin comme si elle n'était qu'une